about today's guest. His name is Jeff Lenning. He's from Excel University, which is a website and a sort of training system dedicated to training accounting professionals or anyone working in accounting or finance in Excel. So his content is 100% driven towards accountants. Microsoft certified trainer, and his email is jeff@exceluniversity.com. Jeff, I'm going to go ahead and give you a presenter so you can share your slides. Are you here with us? Are you connected?
All right. Thanks, Hector. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Clean and Prepare Data. All right, listen. Hey, my name's Jeff. I'm a Microsoft certified trainer, and I love sharing the things I've learned about Excel over the years, especially those things that help us number crunchers get our work done faster. So today, I'm super excited because Hector has given me about 20 minutes or so to talk over a couple of different techniques for cleaning and preparing data. So we export data from some system, and we got to get it ready for its next step in its journey, whatever that may be. Maybe we're going to summarize in a pivot table, a pivot chart. Maybe we're going to import it into QuickBooks or some other accounting system, ERP system. So it's like getting it ready for its next step in the journey. So I'm going to talk about some functions that have been available to Excel users for decades. Okay, so if you're working along in like Excel 2010 or earlier, then these are some of the techniques you can use. Then we're going to look at flash fill, which is a feature that was first introduced with Microsoft 2013 for Windows. So if you have that, then you get this fancy new tool called flash fill. And then I'm also going to talk about what we get to use in Excel 2016 for Windows, built right in a Get and Transform query. So that is what we're going to do. Now, if you'd like to work along, totally cool. I've put the link there to the download page, exceluniversity.com/excelph. Let me just show you how to navigate there in case you want to grab a copy of the file. And if you're running two monitors and you can have Excel open up on one, that's great. If, however, you just want to kick back and watch, that's totally cool too. But this is where the Excel files are and the handout that accompanies today's session, which is basically a PDF version of the slide deck. All right, so grab this clean Excel file and this PDF, and these represent the materials for the session today. Okay, so I've opened up the Excel file, and now let's say we are using Excel 2010 or earlier. Excel 2010 or earlier, and what happens is we get some data from somewhere, right? This was exported from somewhere, and specifically, let's say this came from like a web form or an e-commerce registration page or something like that, where the user is sort of entering their own information, right? And they're not really worried about all caps, title case, lowercase. All right, and so the data is it's not necessarily clean, but you and I, we like our data to be sort of clean. So what we'll do is we're going to use some functions. And Excel has over 450 worksheet functions that help us do all kinds of different things. And right now we want to help us clean the data. So for the name column, we really want that in what's called proper case, where the first letter of each word is capitalized. So we'll go ahead and go equals proper, and then what's the cell value? So the cell value is in B10. Close the function and enter. All right, and Excel will clean that and put basically title case or proper case, where the first letter of every word is capitalized. Then we need to fill that formula down, and in Excel there's many different ways to accomplish any given sort of task. So one thing we could do is we could click and drag, and that would fill that formula down. That would be fine. Another option is to do the copy paste, where we do a standard Control C for copy, select the range, Control V for paste. That would be totally fine. Another option available to us is to select the range and use the fill command, and that's over on the home ribbon tab. Fill down. Okay, and that would be fine. But another way that's kind of fun is to double click on the fill handle. Double click on the lower right corner of that formula cell. And if I double click that, then Excel is going to push the formula down forming, and it's going to go as far as the adjacent values. All right, and I'm going to try to do all the exercises twice. So I'll come back and do that formula one more time. And now let's say for the city, we also want this to be in proper case. Okay, and so what we can do is we can write the formula again, or we can just fill the formula right. And I'm going to go ahead and click and drag to fill that formula right. And now we've got city. Okay, so that is the function called proper. Now for state, we want something different, right? We want everything to be all caps, okay? Not mixed case or lowercase. So to do that, we're going to use a function called upper. So I type in equals upper, select the cell, close the function, and enter. And once again, I can fill that formula down through a variety of ways, either copy paste, or drag the fill handle, or double click the fill handle. And for email, our requirement is what? Lowercase, right? Lowercase. So we need to get all this stuff cleaned up and in all lowercase. So we'll use a function called lower. Lower. Select the cell, close the function, and enter. And we can just push the formula down. Okay? So this is one way to help us clean and prepare this data for its next step in the journey. Right? And so primarily we were talking about text functions, upper, lower, and proper. Let me go ahead and do this exercise one more time. Equals proper. Select the name cell, close the function, enter, and I'm going to double click to push it down. Same thing with city. Proper, city, close the function and enter, and push that formula down. Here we have state, that's going to be upper, and we'll push that down, and email is lower. Select this range and push it down. All right, good. So we've been able to do this for many years, okay, for decades. And so this is one approach, but let's look at something a little more interesting. I'm going to go ahead and move to exercise 2. Okay. And in exercise 2, we have the same basic sort of data, but we want to look at an alternative to formulas. Okay. And this is going to be the flash fill, right? And flash fill works by sort of detecting a pattern and then extending that pattern down. And to get the pattern, all we do is give Excel kind of the first one, and then Excel will try its best to recognize the pattern and fill that pattern or extend that pattern down. And for some of the basic patterns, Excel is pretty good, but there are some complex patterns that it can't quite pick up on. But for the basics, like first name, we're going to be good. So not only do we want to change the case to proper case, we also actually want to split this, right? So this is a full name column, and we want to split that. And that's a common transformation. That's a common transformation, splitting or combining columns. And a question just came in, can you do all of this in Excel 2010? And the answer is, if you're in 2010, you could do the technique used on exercise 1, but you won't have the ability to work on exercises 2 or 3. Okay, and so, yeah, thanks for the question. Help me clarify that. So for the first name, we give it the first thing, Brandon. So we just type it in. Okay, and notice a couple things. One is we've used the proper case, and we've also split it. We just picked the first name and we typed it in. Now what we want Excel to do is detect that pattern and push it down. So the way that we do that is to select the data ribbon tab and the flash fill button, or if you're a keyboard kind of a person, then your keyboard shortcut is Control E. But anyways, I'll click flash fill and let's see if it worked. Yes. Yes, it worked. All right.
This is first time that Excel actually has a little bit of artificial intelligence built in. Historically speaking, you have to always write out a formula and explicitly tell Excel what is it that you're trying to do. what the people from Microsoft were able to do is they were able to now take contextually the type of things that you're writing and try to understand what is it that you're trying to pick out of there. So it's not going to be perfect, like Jeff said. It's not going to be perfect. Some stuff is a little bit too complex for it to understand it. But this is the first. I think this is the first time I've seen mainstream artificial intelligence in $100 software. So that's why he acts with that level of excitement, is because it is that exciting.
All right, absolutely, absolutely. Hey, thanks, man. Now here, check this out. We can also do the same thing for the last name. So if the last name is going to be man, and we just flash fill it down, and we got it. So Jeff, when would we use flash fill, and when would we kind of use like formulas? And it's personal preference, but I'll give you my take on it. If this is a one-time project, okay, I'm definitely using flash fill, okay, because it's a manual step, but it goes pretty quick. But if this is a recurring use project, I may be more inclined to try to figure out the right formulas, and that way I can just paste and go and not have to take that extra manual step. So anyway, that's just the way that I kind of think about Excel. But let's keep pushing ahead. We split the columns. Now, can we use flash fill to combine columns? And the answer is yeah. Let's check it out. 1, 2, 3 Main Street, comma, okay, and then we'll do the city, and then a comma, state, space, zip. Okay, and let me scooch, that's a tech word, let me scooch this over so it's easier to see. And I think we got it, and let's go ahead and flash fill it down, and yes, we got it. All right, that is awesome. And email is going to be pretty easy. We just type in the email in the case that we want, and just flash fill it down. Let me squeeze this over here so it's easier to see. There, we got it. All right, so that is flash fill. Flash fill. Flash fill was first available with Excel 2013 for Windows. And like I said before, I'm going to try to do all these exercises twice. So let me go ahead and do this one again here. We give it the first one in the pattern. We ask Excel to try its best to figure out the pattern and flash fill it down. And we got it. Last name and flash fill is on the data tab. Flash fill it down. Address. Let's combine this. And flash fill it down. Email. Type in the correct case and flash fill it down.
And right? Jeff, one of the questions here is you're combining addresses, and somebody's saying that many a times I get the addresses all combined already. So does this also work for like separating them, splitting them up?
Yes, and so that's kind of the example we did first here, which is splitting. So flash fill is an alternative to concatenation to combine, and it's an alternative to text to columns, which is traditionally how we've been able to split things at, let's say, the comma. Perfect. But I could also split this address using the same basic technique.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you.
Cool. All right, now for those lucky people in Excel 2016, built right into 2016 is Get and Transform queries. This was formerly available as Power Query, which was a free add-in, but it was a separate download and install. Starting with 2016, it's all just built in. It's in the VBA object model. It is like it's part of Excel, and it feels like a part of Excel. And let me show you how this works. This is a tool that helps us get, right? So reaching out to other data sources, like whatever they may be, and transform. So importing stuff from some external data source and then transforming it. What does this transform mean? Well, we just saw examples of some common transformations, splitting and combining column, changing the formatting, but it supports like way more transformations than that, and it can do some crazy stuff. And if time permits, I'm going to do extra credit 1 using a Get and Transform query to unpivot this summarized data. So let's start with exercise 3 and get warmed up. To send this through a Get and Transform query, I'm going to start by selecting any cell within the range. And then on the data ribbon tab, I have a new set of commands called get and transform. And we don't have time to fully investigate this, but I do have many blog posts that talk about this. So head to the Excel University blog. I'll show you how to get there here in a second to read more about this. But we can get data from a lot of different places, from workbooks, CSV files, text files, from folders, from all kinds of databases are supported, built right in from the Azure Data Marketplace, from online services like SharePoint, Facebook, Salesforce, and many other sources. So there are many different external data sources that this works with. So what we're going to do now, though, is we're just going to tell Excel that we want to get the data from a table. And when we click From Table, Excel actually tries to convert this ordinary range into a table. So it gives me the dialog box called Create Table. And I click OK. And then Excel launches the query. Sorry, it came up on the other screen for some reason. It launches the query editor. Okay, and this is an amazing interface here, this query editor. And so first of all, it is a query editor, a query. So that means that the original data source is not changed. This is like read only, right? So the original data source, whatever it is unchanged. And so all of these transformations take place within this query editor. And then the results are pasted into Excel. So let's do something similar to what we did, but use it a different approach. Here, I'm going to take this name column, and I need to split it. All right, so to do that, I'm going to select the column. I'm going to choose Split Column, and here I have choices like by delimiter. What's a delimiter? A delimiter is like a character that Excel can use to know where the column breaks are. Or if there's not a delimiter, then we can split it based on a certain number of characters. In our case, there is a delimiter, so we're going to select delimiter. And then Excel displays the split column by delimiter dialog, and it asks me to confirm what the delimiter is. Is it a comma? Is it a colon? An equal sign? A custom? A fixed width? So we have all kinds of fun choices. I'm going to go with comma. And now this split, these radio buttons here are really interesting. Okay. To me, at least. But check it out. At the leftmost delimiter, okay, so that sounds pretty obvious. So we can just split it at the first delimiter. At the rightmost delimiter, inside of Excel, there's not a very convenient way to just get the last piece. Like if you have QuickBooks accounts with sub-accounts, and some accounts have no sub-accounts, some have 1 or 2 or 3 sub-accounts, getting that last, the lowest level account is kind of really tricky. But now it makes it really easy because we can just get the last delimiter. Or I could say split it at every comma. So I have some fun choices and advanced options. For now, I'll go with leftmost delimiter and click OK. And did you see it? It's done. Now I have 2 name columns split. Okay? And this works a little differently than the standard Excel interface. There's no like undo button. Instead, what happens is Excel records all of your steps and it puts it into the applied steps list box. And so I could modify things by clicking the settings. I could remove a step by clicking the red X. And so this is the sequence of commands that is going to be used every time I refresh. Wait, what? Yeah, this is the beautiful thing about a query is it is refreshable. So once I go through and define all of these transformations, I don't have to ever open this dialog again. What I do is export, paste, and then I just right-click and refresh. And Excel will go through these steps and give me the updated results. Okay, so it is super awesome for recurring use kinds of tasks. Now, we just did a split. Now, can we do a combine? Yeah, we can do a combine. We grab the 3 columns that we'd like to combine, and we head to Transform, and we select Merge Columns. And when I do a merge, Excel asks, what is the separator? Do I want to put a colon in between, a comma, equal sign what? I want to do a custom, and I want a comma and a space. Okay? And then what is the new column name? Okay, we'll just leave it with merged. And then we click OK, and there's our merged column. Okay? And we forgot the zip. Well, let's do it now. right? So we can build steps on top of previous steps. And this is beautiful because I didn't want a comma between my state and my zip. So I'll merge this in a separate step. Merge columns. Separator is a space. And we'll call this address. And OK. And now we got it. Okay. And email, now we need to clean this up, right? So the name column should be right-click, transform, and we're going to go with capitalize each word. Okay, name 2, right-click, transform, capitalize each word. Address, right-click, capitalize each word, and email, right-click, transform, and lowercase. Okay. And now that we've defined this sequence of steps, we're going to click on the close and load button, which is the way to basically get these results loaded up into an Excel sheet. So I'll click close and load, and Excel drops it into a brand new sheet, all cleaned up. Okay? And guess what? We save, we close, we move on with our life, and life is good. And next period, we have an update. So what we can do is we can just paste the original source data, same column structure, same sloppy, messy data. We just paste it into this table, and then we just right-click and refresh. And any new results would automatically flow into this table. And we don't have to go through that get and transform dialog again. Okay? Good? All right, you got time for one more? You do? Okay.
Yeah.
So let's check this.
Right.
Yeah. All right, let's do one more. I'm going to do extra credit 1. And here I want to unpivot this data. What do you mean, like, unpivot? Isn't this just a transformation? No, no, no. Unpivot is like, if you're familiar with a pivot table, okay, what does that mean? It means taking tabular data, like where there's one amount column, and when you create a pivot table, you kind of summarize it, and you can create 3 columns from that one amount column based on like the department, right? So I want to unwind this. I want to sort of unpivot it. And so it's not just as easy as doing a transfer, like a copy, paste special, transpose, right? It's not that. I actually want one single amount column. And so that would be, to do this manually, it's a lot of copy paste, because I would need to copy this, paste, bring marketing down, copy. You see, so I'd have to kind of do all this manual stuff of copying and pasting. Let's see how we can do it with a get and transform query. I select any cell within the range, data from table. Excel displays the create table dialog box. I click OK. Now in the query editor, what I can do is I can either select the one column that I don't want to unpivot, or I could group select the columns that have the amounts that I want to unpivot, and either way is fine. And then I go to transform, unpivot columns. And you see I could unpivot the selected columns, or I could unpivot like all the other columns. So you could work it either way. In this case, I want to unpivot the other columns. So I select that, and yeah, it's done. It's done. And then I click home, close and load, and now we've got it. So when my data comes to me like this, right, from an export, from a client, from a vendor, from a data system, from an export, okay, and I need it like this, that just becomes a single right click and refresh. All right, and that is some ways that we've been able to clean data over the years. Starting in 2010, we could use functions. Starting with 2013, we could use flash fill, and 2016 comes built in with get and transform queries, okay, which change everything.